All right. Good evening, everybody. Excuse me. Sorry about that. We're going to be back with a little Surviving Mars Green Planet. Thank you again to Paradox for giving me a press key to play this new game. Obviously, the DLC is already out. I'm having a good time of it. And I am recording this a bit late in the day, so if I don't go the full length that I normally do for a stream or something along those lines, it's just because I wanted to make sure that I got something done for Thursday, but it does mean that I might have to be a little bit shorter. But let's see what the game has in store for us. If you watched the last episode, you know that we played Brazil. It turned out to be a little bit more difficult than I thought it would be, but we definitely made some mistakes, but we've survived. We've got a colony going. I believe we just passed the founder stage, and so we'll be able to see if we can maybe get things done. Maybe get things a little bit more orderly than what our original plan was. So we return to Brazil on Sol 21.
Resources are low.
Alright, so let's just take a quick look at the position. So China has nearly completed the first Martian born. It's pretty unlikely that we're going to achieve that. One of my mistakes was not coming up with a better gender balance, and so we really only have 3 people who are likely to be giving birth, and of course their comfort is rather important for that. So I'd say we're probably not going to succeed. We've got a supply pod coming in with some more machine parts. We also brought in a few more electronics, but most importantly an RC commander. Now, if memory serves, I think that was to get this new site built. It could also be the drones. I'm not 100% sure, but if memory serves, this is going to wind up being our This is going to wind up being our farming colony, and we'll basically try and move things from there. What else do I want to think about? So I want to build another dome just to be able to extract the rare metals, and at some point I'd like to start picking up some of these underground metals, but of course we have some other things that we can do. This is already picking up some of the above ground metals, so maybe I'll worry about that a little bit further into the future. So I think for now, I do want to focus on trying to get a child born. Oh.
This will go down in history.
The long-time dream of the human civilization as a whole to settle another world has come true. To be among the people who made this happen makes me feel enthusiastic and proud. We are already swarmed with applications for relocation on Mars, and the wanderlust and enthusiasm of these people makes me proud to be a human being. The red planet continues to be inhospitable and even dangerous, but we as a species have always displayed the ability to adapt and improve. The adverse conditions will only make us try harder, so I say bring it on. The colony has been evaluated positively, and additional colonists can be called from Earth. Looks like we've got a serious adventure ahead of us. Alright, so now before I go any further, let's just take a quick look at some of the more intermediate goals that I can try and accomplish. So we still only have 1 rocket. Now, if this would have been a wonderful one to try and achieve, but that's not going to happen. 4 domes with spires seem a lot more likely. Alright, so we don't get a free ship. I'm going to need to think about some ways of getting a second one. So one of the reasons why rare metals is a fairly high priority right now is so that I can earn my way to a few other goods. Now, as far as other details, let's think a little bit about what some of our next moves are going to be. So we've got the farming colony. We'll have sort of a third dome connected. So a dome connected to 3 other domes. So I'll want to have 1 more in addition to Oh, yeah, actually, this is a fairly important point. So maybe a mining dome, and I gotta think about what my third one's gonna be. Oh, well, actually, this is fairly self-explanatory. It should be a manufacturing dome. And we'll probably focus on making polymers first. Main reason I say making polymers first, we have the factory for it already, and its inputs are electricity, water, and fuel, all things that we can generate fairly easily in my colony. So that'll be the plan. I think probably I'm going to focus on the farming dome first and the rare metals first. And then we'll worry about the manufacturing dome a little bit later. And if I'm particularly lucky, I'm going to be able to structure these domes in such a way that I'm able to have a majority of farms. But we'll worry about those details later. Now, as far as the colony is concerned, alright, this one's almost ready to go home, so that's good news there. I gotta unload the polymers at some point. Actually, one of the things that'll be nice about a manufacturing dome is I might even be able to put it somewhere here. We can sort of build a network, and then one offshoot here. Okay, so we're one fuel away. I think what'll probably happen here is I'm just gonna bring in the new colonists right away. We won't worry about bringing in any other goods. So I have 8 vacant work slots right now, which means I'm going to need to come up with some other jobs for folks. That shouldn't be too difficult to handle. What I think I'm going to do as a precaution, I'm just gonna set myself up with a new apartment. So we'll send the Crux one up to space. And we've got enough concrete that I'll actually make a landing pad. We'll wait until this one launches. Obviously, a few of our little friends down here got a bit dusty. But if we wait, there should be some others that come and help them out. I guess these two insulted the others. All right, there we go. So we do need to start thinking about some other drones at some point, but I don't really have any good opportunities right now. I should be a little more careful about that. No, actually that seems to makes as much sense as anything, I suppose. I'm definitely not going to want to put a colony too close to any of this, so. Now for technology, do I already have the bonus to, yes, drone hubs are constructed with an additional 2 drones. So one of the things that I want to be focusing on this playthrough is my ability to produce drone hubs, because they don't cost me anything to build. Or sorry, they cost me something to build, but they don't cost me anything to maintain, and so I should be able to build a nice little network of resources. And this will be particularly helpful as I go to expand out to this area. Just a quick reminder for those of you too wondering a little bit about this, especially I remember there was one day I felt a little bit bad, but somebody said, you know, what's all the mumbling about? And I suppose maybe this is mumbling. I never really thought of it that way. But this is kind of my effort to do a little bit more of a relaxing stream. Some of you mentioned that you like falling asleep to the broadcasts. And so, excuse me, I thought it would be nice to try and lean in a little bit to some of those features to do a type of cast that I haven't really tried before, and see if there was enough interest to keep it going. So there's not a lot of feedback on these, but it's generally been pretty positive, and I think there's enough. I think there's enough people who find it interesting to kind of keep it going. But as always, let me know what you think of these. I'd be happy to change them around if there's something I can do better. All right, so we got a new anomaly over here. Let's we're just gonna go investigate that. My transport is also a bit idle. Now we have a lot of metal already, but that can go away pretty quickly. So let's just take the chance here. We'll scoop up whatever we can find off the ground before we make a mine. And we've got a supply drop. So this will help me out with my machine parts and my electronics. Now eventually what I would like to have happen is I would like to switch this around. I don't need to have this big stack of materials anymore. What I'm going to get instead is something a little more intermediate. Okay. CRC commander's helpful here. We'll put them right in between the two, so this will give me an opportunity to start building these domes. And then what else do I want? So we're well on our way with the apartments. I'm gonna need to think a little bit whether or not I want to put any more amenities down here, or if I can make that part of the other dome. I think it's gonna be sort of a hybrid approach. Maybe I'll get rid of the small grocer and I'll make a big one instead. Okay, now as far as a drone hub goes, I want to make sure I get a decent amount of overlap. But I also don't want to have just totally arbitrary placements. So I think this is going to wind up being a little awkward for the two new domes. But I think this will do the trick. And we can afford the polymers, so we will now start building our new basic dome. So the landing pad is the higher priority, the basic dome is a lower priority. And then I'm going to put a small dumping site just on the border. Nope, that's not the border. So the reason I'm putting that there is so that my drones can start supplying the rare metals refinery with some more goodies. Okay, so what I'm probably going to wind up getting for these domes is a passage that looks a bit like this.
Complete.
Something that's
Analyzed.
nice and parallel between the two regions. I might have to do something like this. One way or the other, I want to minimize the impact of these passages. And so productivity training's complete. That was right here. Geologists have a saying, rocks remember. Alright, so now we're in the 1500 and the 2000 level. Excuse me, sorry about that. So the drone hub is a very tempting one. Mars crowdfunding will help me out with my grants. I'm a little reluctant to do that right now just because I don't need the money right away. But as we did mention, the drone hub is going to be a pretty important one for us in order to sort of get our drone count up and to expand out our base. This would have been a nice one too, but I couldn't wait for the commander, so so I think out of all of them, probably my highest priority right now would be a drone hub. Lake vaporators at some point would be nice, but we're not quite terraforming yet, and I think we have some other duties to take care of before we try that. Now I should also be considering what the power demands for this dome and this water extractor will be. So we're gonna need 5 there, and we're going to need 15, so we need to make sure we've got another 20 online. Our current demand is 76. Our Stirling generators providing 20. Should probably think about building another battery at this point. There's not a whole lot of reason behind what I did there. It was a style that I sort of liked. Now, in addition, so we're going to have another 20 coming online, so I believe I'll actually need 2 power accumulators. Now, this is a pretty fragile little system that I've built up here between the 2 colonies, so what I might wind up doing is also trying to build some power kind of in the region in general. Kind of want to get some basic materials down at this point. I actually think at this point we can get rid of the Universal Depot. I think I can send my Explorer back home. We don't have anything for them to do for the next little while. I think it's pretty likely we're going to wind up exploring some of these areas. Okay, not too far away from getting some new colonists in, so I want to think a little bit about what our priorities are. So we definitely want at least 5 more scientists if I can. We'd like some doctors. I can actually open those up. So a lot of non-specialists. Let's say some non-specialists. Doctors. I'm gonna feel a little bit bad for doing this, but
Funding received.
let's do... So if I do a proper grocer here, what's it gonna take me for a small space bar? Okay, I can't satisfy everyone's needs that way. So I think we're gonna just let that be. And instead, let's think about what our passenger rocket's gonna look like. So let's prioritize women. Let's say we want scientists, non-specialists. I'm actually okay with botanists, medics. Okay, we have a lot of okay, I think I'm gonna have to allow the middle-aged in now. So what are we looking at here? All right, let's see if we can do better. Apparently I don't have any medics. So that was a genius. Melancholic and a glutton. I can handle that. Okay, what I need to do first. Okay, I've got 16 jobs open, so everything's on the table. So right now I'm looking for some ideal ideal traits if I can. Okay, so we had some genius. We had some genius non-specialists. There we go. That's what I've got. I've got 6 spots left. So I'm going to need some more botanists before too long. I think I'm going to focus on the non-specialists though. Guess there's no more youth. Oh, well, we do have youth, but they're not exactly what I want. So in this case, I do want to prioritize women right now. So I think I've got my 2 men. Yeah, it has to be all women. I don't really have any social buildings yet. Okay, let's go through the list bottom to top and see what we can do. So, middle-aged, loner hypochondriac. They're a youth. Let's try it. A lot of men. Okay, I'm absolutely maxed out on scientists. So some of this is investment in the future. So some of these are going to be a little more oriented towards the farms that I build, but this will still pay off for us before too long. I think at this point it makes as much sense. So there's not really much for my commander to do right now. That's already working, so we'll leave that be. short on just getting all the resources in place right now, but so what I think I might wind up doing, we might get rid of the small grocer. I think what's going to happen is I'm going to wind up distributing my amenities between the two domes because I didn't plan them out properly. So we'll maybe put a school in maybe have like a dome. The manufacturing dome will maybe go over here, and we'll actually do sort of a pyramid in terms of construction. I'll worry about that a little bit later, though. We've got some other priorities to deal with. So I'm fast forwarding a little bit more than I used to on the old playthrough, but that's just because it'd be nice that if we can see a few other activities running by if we can. Or sorry, a few other not activities, but just a few other game events. So it's a bit of a shame to see all of these sitting idle. I'm actually going to change the order a little bit. So what we'll do instead is we'll get the transport to drop things off over here. So we're short on machine parts, which should be available before too long. I suspect this dome will be the first one to be built, but we do need some metal, which with luck my little comrades over here will be helping us out with. I'll admit I'm also a little surprised that I'm not drilling for water here. I suppose it's because I didn't see any need for it. Alright, well, we'll go scan the anomaly. And looks like our new friends are ready to arrive, so we'll drop them down. Get to try out the new landing pad. And they will be bringing a bit of food with them, but I think we're good for that. The fungal farm really is paying off, it turns out. It's going to be a little interesting to see how everybody assigns themselves into all these newly open jobs. We've basically got everything open all night except for the research. And my big worry is that this grocer's not going to be able to sustain everything, but we will see how that turns out a bit later. Actually, now that I think of it, I probably need a social building more than anything.
New colonists have arrived.
So one thing I need to be a little mindful about is how all of my sort of tunnels and whatnot get connected. Because this would have been more sensible to have as sort of like a central hub. But because of the decisions that I made in terms of how I built everything, I'm not quite able to build it that way. Alright, so let's get this guy working on moving day.
Research complete.
Fuel compression. So that was where? It's one of these. Rocket cargo space increased by 10,000 kilograms. The fuel section is by far the largest, and when full, the heaviest part of any rocket. This makes developing more compressed fuels especially important when striving to bring more to Mars with fewer rockets. So I'm not really using wind power, and I probably will need to start attracting more applicants. But right now, I think building some new dome types is particularly appealing. In fact, so much so, I'm tempted to cancel this dome before I get too committed to some of the decisions that I made here. I might actually be able to decommission this dome. This is a risk, but I don't actually need the new dome yet. And so what this is going to allow me to do is I'm going to be able to move all of these buildings into my big dome. This one can wind up becoming my farming dome, or something close to the farming dome. We'll slowly transition it.
Anomaly analyzed.
There's more to the barren environs of the Red Planet than meets the eye. A veritable treasure trove of undiscovered knowledge and wonder. So long as you know where to look.
Even the tiniest, simple-looking rock can contain the answers to mysteries which perplex the human mind for generations. Sometimes it takes just a simple discovery to assure us of the vastness of the universe, and encouragement to make us look beyond the boundaries of our existence into the future. The following texts have been revealed on the research screen: Greenhouse Mars and Dozer Rover. Alright, so this was China getting the first Martian born. Now, this is going to seem a little crazy. I'm actually going to decommission these apartments. What are some of our interests? Okay, so I don't have dining. So there is a bit of a design behind this, but it's going to take me to get to the low-G engineering first. we can prepare for the extractor amplification with 10, so 10. Oop, 30. So we do have water.
Research complete.
Okay. This is going to allow me to get more out of my extractors. From the first day to this, sheer greed was the driving spirit of civilization. So here, I think the magnetic filtering probably makes the most sense. Maybe the Stirling generator, but again, I don't think I'm quite ready. Ready to put the electronics to use there. So magnetic filters block ferromagnetic metal contaminants as well as weakly magnetic particles from the Martian atmospheres when inhaled by our moxies, greatly increasing their efficiencies. So the reason I paid for the higher research is for what's going to be coming up next. That's going to be the larger dome that I can build. And I'm going to transition this building. This is going to be the one that becomes the farming colony. I'm going to have to do something about the fungal farm, but we'll work that out later. We might even just replace it with a scientist barges into your office and says that they have an important climate experiment to make. Quick to assure you that the experiment is perfectly safe, Natalia Montez reluctantly asks for permission to test it within the vicinity of a dome, in case they need to get to shelter really fast. Innovation is always welcome. Go ahead, test it near the dome, get research, something might happen. Sounds intriguing, but I'd rather play it safe, test it somewhere far away, or enough crazy for today. Please leave my office. Let's test it near a dome.
Research complete.
And we didn't lose any limbs, so good news there. All right. I think now I will go for the Stirling generator, and might as well go for the rover commander. So the Stirling radioscope generator is a generator based on the Stirling engine, powered by a large radioisotope heater unit. And our rover command AI, developing a specialized AI with greater autonomy and advanced multitasking capabilities, will allow our rovers to control more drones simultaneously. But more importantly, I now get to build a big dome. Well, this will complicate things a little bit. I'll also need more power, but I can work with that. Okay, so it's a bit of a waste of materials, but I think this is worth the sacrifice. Okay, so pipe. Power. I'm also going to make sure that my passages can still reach. This could be a risk. I think it'll work, but... just in case it doesn't turn out. And actually, while I'm at it, I can start working on some of the other things I have in mind. So the idea is that I'm going to have all of the apartments. I might have one set of apartments that I keep in here, but basically all of the others, like the casino, the grocers and all of that, that's actually going to be at the medium dome now. And the reason I want to do that is so I can focus on this as a farming dome. I'm going to have to give up 2 slots, one for the apartment and one for the passages. And then we'll just move everything slowly over here. And then the water reclamation is going to be particularly helpful because that's going to allow me to sort of minimize the impact of focusing everything in that one area. In fact, what I'll probably wind up doing is moving the apartments as well. I just need to make sure that this fungal farm is still online while we do the transition. But we don't need to rush any of this, so... I also just want to double check, so we actually have 5 scientists now. We have 6 scientists. Brought one too many. This won't be good for my hypochondriacs, unfortunately.
It takes more than bravery to be a pioneer of the Martian frontier. Or at least it should.
They face uncertainty which no humans have faced before. Alameda, on the other hand, albeit a pioneer, doesn't seem especially brave and makes jumping in fright after seeing one's shadow look like a normal thing. Founder has gained the coward trait. A shame, but I'll have to live with it. And it does turn out that we do have lots of scientists. I'm not particularly upset by this state of affairs, it just makes things a little more complicated for me. So this medium dome is now a pretty high priority. Looks like they're working their hardest to get everything where it needs to be, so that's good news there. And we're going to be shy on polymers before too long. Okay, so let's so I believe those are all my current extractors. I'm also slightly curious about this power accumulator that doesn't seem to be charging. So I want to see whether or not it gets a full charge, because if it doesn't, I'm going to need to start thinking.
Approaching.
Ah, no, this is going to be a big concern. I don't have any good answers about how to handle this. I think we're just gonna have to... I think we're just gonna have to accept our fate on this one. I suppose I can turn down non-essential services. It's not ideal, but I think it'll help us charge our batteries. And then we can get ready for what will happen with the dust storm.
Anomaly analyzed.
Oh, neat. Oh, that's right. That was our expedition. That might have actually saved us for that achievement. Oh wait, it's Blythestall 30. I don't think we're gonna have the rocket back there and back again in 4 days.
Resources are low.
So we've delivered 18 so far. We would need 42. And we definitely don't have that. Okay, we've only got one more supply pod right now, but... I think I can work with this. So now we have 2 days of a dust storm.
Research complete.
The advanced Martian engines are done, so the scarcity of Martian-made rocket fuel options has made our first true contribution towards rocket engine efficiency. Now, I might want to consider putting some investments in the low-G turbines just so I can deal with the fact that I'm too reliant on solar. The thing is, I kind of want to make sure that I've got my machine parts in order. But either going to have to go for the money, or I'm going to have to go for the... Yeah, we'll do low-G turbines now. So, hands-on observations and problem-solving in the low-gravity environment, on Mars have helped our engineers come up with solutions for increased wind turbine efficiency. So they want metal for food. I just don't like the terms. Oh, I need to close up that Stirling generator. What about our stored water, though? Ah, it's the leak.
The colonists are on the brink of dehydration. We need to figure out something quick before they die.
Water is the vital fluid which sustains all life. The human body requires a constant access to fresh drinkable water and quickly deteriorates when none is present. Thus, the extraction of water is one of our utmost priorities. Oh my. Okay. I hope somebody deals with that quick. Okay, this is rather discouraging to see how many drones are walking by this. Alright, now this is genuinely perplexing to me. Insufficient oxygen. Apparently it... Oh no. I don't think I have any other way of generating oxygen. Because apparently this is already empty. Let's see if we get by.
Our colonists are suffocating. We only have a few hours to get them more oxygen before they run out.
Our domes are large enough to contain tons of breathable air, but when the systems fail to refresh the supply, the amount of carbon dioxide will steadily increase until the atmosphere becomes unbreathable. Colonists with the suffocating status effects have no access to oxygen and will die within a short time. Connect their dome to operational moxies and oxygen tanks, or plant oxygen-producing crops in farms to supply them with oxygen. Yeah, everything's gonna shut down. Well, let's see what happens. I've never had anything quite this disastrous happen before, so...
Resources are low.
Well, this is exactly what I needed right now. Okay. Well, we can turn it on and just make it a low priority. So assuming that we survive this... So I'll put this down here.
Sector scanned. Anomaly found.
So we'll start with a pair of apartments.
Our colonists are suffering from hypothermia.
Domes feature heaters which maintain a pleasant temperature of 23 degrees Celsius around the clock, protecting against the fluctuating temperature of the fickle Martian atmosphere outside. The temperature inside the dome quickly decreases when the power supply is cut, and the colonists sure do feel the effects. If the situation remains unchanged, I'm afraid that it could be fatal. Colonists with the freezing status effect reside in a dome with an insufficient supply of power. Increase the amount of power accessible to the dome to prevent this. Unfortunately, we do not have any power left. So I want to make sure I have enough space available for the... Oh, I might have blown it. I think I might have used up 2 spaces where I should have only used 1. Okay, well, I'll still make something happen out of this.
Research complete. A colonist has died.
We gather here today to bid a final farewell to one of our finest.
As difficult and as painful as it is, we must accept that Paulo Lima is dead. As friends, as a community, we express our sadness, we acknowledge our loss, acknowledge the great importance of Paulo Lima's life. Paulo Lima's life has been a journey towards a vision, a journey which brought us all towards the possibility of living on the Red Planet, one small step after at a time. Paulo Lima didn't try to make their mark in human history, for there is no room for attempts in success. Paulo Lima knew what the calling of fate was, knew the risks and the opportunities, and made the best of it for the good of us all. What is it that takes a person through all of this is a question only we can answer. This is a question whose answer is the spirit of Paulo Lima, and this is a legacy for us. Paulo Lima has died, caused suffocating. Thank you, fellow colonists. Now I have a feeling we'll probably have a few more to join them, so we'll close that down. This may be a fairly brief session, because we still have a day of this to go through. Alright, so this is going to be the offshoot to the rare metals. We've got our casino complex. So I'll set this up for a grocer. Go for a diner. Put a proper space bar down. Set it, change of plans. Put the grocer here. And the diner there. That's still going to give us access to our mining colony. Also means I'm going to be able to put down a school for the kids.
A colonist has died.
So, suffocation. And then I'm going to likely need a passage here, so I'll put a size 3 building. One thing I don't have are parks, but let's see how this all turns out.
A colonist has died.
The recent colonist deaths are a worrisome trend which cannot be ignored. While the applicants who came to Mars were aware of the many risks that could await them, the near criminal neglect from our side is something different. We cannot keep this information from the public, and opinions are swaying in the direction that our colony is a death trap. This troublesome rumor deters many valuable candidates from coming to the new frontier. And these are people we desperately need to fulfill the great mission of colonizing Mars and bringing our vision of the future closer. Each time a colonist dies from an unnatural death, 2 applicants leave the pool. So unfortunately, there's not much that we can do about this. This storm hit at exactly the time that I couldn't afford it.
There are Earthsick colonists.
Yeah, that's not surprising. I have a feeling that this one might be a lost cause. So as we build our replacements, we'll turn down the old buildings and turn on the new ones. So we've got a total of 6 colonists here right now. We've got 11 hours left in the dust storm. 5 colonists.
A colonist has died.
4. Suicide, so 3.
A colonist has died.
4 hours left.
The colony has failed.
Yeah.
The lives and the dreams of our colonists are lost, washed away by despair and grief.
Now our goal as a species is not to despair, not to look away from the stars. The path has to be proven to be hard and rocky, but hardship has only made humans more determined, and that's what defines us as a species. We are sure that one day people will walk the red sands and call Mars their home. All colonists have either died or left Mars. Game over, but don't give up. Alright, so I'm not going to load this. I'm actually going to say this is the end of New Brazil. That was obviously a very short one, but you know what? I need to own the mistakes that I made. The setup wasn't fatal. Unfortunately, this doesn't tell me how long I've been recording. This is actually a really big oversight on the part of the people who made this product. Anyways, we're not done for tonight. But yeah, so what were the problems that I ran into? Well, number one, I didn't have the right balance for my colonists, so that was already a kind of, I set myself up for some difficulty. I could have probably prepared a little bit better for the dust storm, and in fact, part of it would be building a little bit more battery capacity. I'm not quite sure what happened with my oxygen, but I do need to make sure I have some more redundancies in place for that. Yeah, I think if I'm honest, I'm a little more concerned about the mistakes that I made last stream rather than the ones that I made this stream, so. This is a hopeful game, this is a hopeful stream. We're not going to let a setback turn us away from surviving Mars. So let's jump back on that horse. So the question is, do I want to do Brazil or do I want to do something like the Terraforming Initiative? You know what? So as interested as I am in Brazil, I think I am going to try the terraforming initiative. Okay, so geoengineer, seed import costs reduced by 50%. We start with greenhouse gas factories and forestation plants. We get a bonus tack of designated forestation. Newly grown forests have a chance to spawn vistas and research sites. Oh. Okay, you know what? Let's go for a full terraforming. So, mystery, random colonies. Okay. We'll go with the default setup. Oh, okay, so we actually have some spare space. All of these seem fine. Now this is the trick. They didn't give us a drone commander or an explorer or anything like that. Interesting. Might as well get a spare drone. Okay, so I want to make sure that I'm good for resources first. The storms meter, yeah, this will be a challenge, I think, but let's give it a shot.
Welcome to Mars.
Mission Control Log 1, welcome to Mars. Everyone at Mission Control is impatient to see the rocket touching down and unloading its precious cargo. Our remotely controlled eyes and hands on the red planet, the drones and rovers. Our goal is to secure a foothold for humanity by building the first Martian dome. This daunting endeavor will allow the brave pioneers, the founders, to settle on Mars and prove that the colony is sustainable. But until then, we have to make sure that the colony has enough construction resources, water, oxygen, and power. So, terraforming initiative and geoengineer. So we'll start by pausing right away. Let's use our... Okay, so this is actually already a good starting spot. Let's see if we can find any water. But actually, so to terraform Mars and create an Earth-like environment for our colonists, you have to gradually increase the 4 global terraforming parameters: atmosphere, temperature, water, and vegetation. Terraforming is a long process. Once complete, humans can start breathing outside domes. Start by researching a terraforming technology when ready. Further terraforming info is available in the encyclopedia. Oop, let's not explore there yet. So, terraforming buildings. Terraforming buildings are now available. Construct them to consume seeds, the effect the local soil quality and vegetation, and to increase the 4 global terraforming parameters: atmosphere, temperature, water, and vegetation. Check the terraforming build menu section. Each building tooltip provides further information. Martian vegetation researched. Congratulations, you've successfully made the first step towards turning Mars into a lush green heaven. You've unlocked the seeds resource that can be imported from Earth. Seeds are stored in specialized storages and can be used by forestation plants and open farms for planting vegetation outside the domes. Most plants require some terraforming progress to be made. Check out the atmosphere, temperature, surface water, and vegetation coverage in the planetary view. Improving these terraforming parameters will improve the productivity of some buildings, decrease the severity of disasters, and ultimately may render Mars lush, breathable, and covered with liquid water. Okay. So let's say, okay, well, we're already halfway through this tech, so I'll go for that first, I guess. High rise is definitely a priority for me. I think the moisture evaporator is a pretty high priority here, the improvement to it, that is. Okay, I'm reasonably happy with those, so let's take a look at the surrounding area and see. Concrete metals. Looks like water is a pretty scarce resource, so I'm gonna have to keep that in mind. So Okay. So I'm going to have to be a bit conscious of my water usage, but let's play to those strengths. So the first obvious thing that I'm going to want to do is get my concrete in order. So I'm going to give myself the most options by dropping down where I can access both resources. We've already picked our sectors to scan, and we're ready to go. So I'm going to have some priorities as far as getting some explorer drones down. I might want to prioritize metal first so that I can build some wind farms. And I'm going to rush terraforming a little bit faster. Now let's figure out what's going on with this bulldozer. RC dozers are remote-controlled vehicles that facilitate landscaping. They can literally move mountains, making them a powerful ally. The fleet of drones generally used for the task. Furthermore, RC dozers are optimized for transporting large quantities of the inevitable waste rock byproduct which accompanies the changing Martian landscape. Incredibly durable and powerful, the machinery associated with the RC dozers is built to survive being caved in by a mountain if need be. If this were to happen, the vehicle can dig itself out and punish the mountain by flattening it or just moving it someplace else. Okay, I am very interested in what this thing can do. So it only takes waste rock. So what I'm going to start off with, we'll just do our traditional storage depots. So we'll just drop a universal depot down here. We'll build a concrete extractor. Now, what I'm interested in here, the last couple of times we've run into problems because we relied too much on solar power. But the fact of the matter is the wind turbines just simply aren't a good call. So what I am going to do before I build a big solar farm, I'm just going to put down a Stirling generator. Okay, this will get us started at least. Now next up I need to start thinking about fuel. So let's imagine for a moment that Russia is nearly completed. Find water on Mars. I think we'll be very lucky if we find water anywhere that I can make good use of it. So let's say this is where I'd put the dome. And the plan is that I'm going to be able to build a second dome to access the metal when I need it. Also, so research 8 terraforming technologies, we get extra sponsor research. We need terraforming progress, we get lake prefabs. 10,000 research for overall terraforming progress. Okay, so essentially all of our rewards are about terraforming, so that's what we're going to focus on as best as we can. Obviously I still need to colonize the planet, but we'll... Alright, now I don't have any moisture evaporators, so this is going to be a big problem. I'm going to need to think a little bit about how I structure all of this. So, because ideally I'd get an explorer. Well, I'm definitely going to need to bring a new ship down. And that's just to be able to... actually get fuel built. So let's think a little more sensibly about this. For my dome, I'm going to need at least one water. Now, what do moisture evaporators generate is the question. One. Okay. So essentially we're only able to sustain fuel production and a dome with 2 of these. Are there any other... I just want to make sure that none of these other buildings require water. And of course this is going to have some implications as far as my ability to grow food. So we're not ready for forestation plants, but I do want to get the GHG factories down where I can. Okay, well, here's what I'm going to do instead. I'm going to get a rough plan about how to build my colony. So this is going to need 15, and this is going to need 5, so that's going to be another Stirling generator that I put down. Slightly carried it. Oh, you know what? It's not going to let me. I don't think that's going to be close enough. Okay, well, this will be a mining colony. That's fine. I suppose what this also means too is I've made a decision in terms of my drone hub, so let's get that. Let's get that down. Okay, now the drone hub requires 3. You know what? If I was worried about blocking the domes. So the idea here, I'm going to try and sort of build these little batches here. So this is going to be 20 energy and then the 20 energy. I'm going to just try and put these into little isolated groups. Okay, I think I'm ready to have the drone. I've only got 3 drones, so this is going to take a bit. Now terraforming, I can actually put down the GHG factories right away. Vegetation parameter represents the spreading and diversity of vegetation and bacterial life on a planetary scale. Its improvement boosts local vegetation growth, speed, and spread. Vegetation is increased by working forestation plants and by completing special projects. The vegetation tooltip provides further information. Okay, so let's say for a moment, encyclopedia, just want to see if a hydroponics farm takes any consumes water depending on crop type. That's the problem. So I'm probably going to need at least 3. So the purpose behind this is just so that I can get some fuel production. Let's say the Stirling generator, the GHG factories, and the concrete extractors are my highest priorities. And while I'm at it, I think I'm willing to wait before I spend money on boosting research. So the idea here is going to be that I extract rare metals long enough to be able to make the colony a little more viable. Oh yes, I also need to remember to deal with my waste rock, because that is now a priority. So liquid water is probably the first milestone that I want. And then sustainable grass will be with... Yeah, it's the water. So water is definitely going to be a struggle. This is insufficient power. Ah, fuel. A new deep space telescope will be launched to scan the cosmos from a point even further out than Mars. The company behind the telescope, Lambda Industries, has partnered with our sponsor to share the financial burden of the deep space launch. Our sponsor, not one to waste an opportunity, to help with our most ambitious project, says the splitting of the launch bill will basically pay for a single supply pod that they can fill with the cargo of our choosing. What should we pick? So 10 orbital probes, that'll help me get water. Extra resources or transport. Nope, you know what? Orbital probes it is. So finding out that I need fuel, I'm actually going to shut these down now. Because the machine parts is also a cost I don't really want to bear. What we can do here, everything that says water gets hit.
Milestone achieved. Sector scan.
Bingo.
Anomaly
Okay.
found.
So what I want to be focusing here is on access to water. Okay, well, I have these probes, so... I think there was an area that said that there were some polymers. There we go. Okay. So that gives me a bit to work with, I think. The big question is whether or not I can build a tunnel there. Too far. Well, it's manageable. I would think a little more carefully on how I'm going to build this, but I figure put down one over here. Something like that. So then we get a drone hub down. I'm just trying to think if there's any advantage to me. Should probably wait till this is scanned. But yeah, so the plan is going to be between now and the next rocket landing, I'm going to have a drone commander down. That drone commander will allow me to build this tunnel. This tunnel will connect me to water extractors, and those water extractors will allow me to be a little more effective in terms of getting my sort of survivability up. The water parameter represents the quality and volume of water on the Martian surface. Large enough quantities of liquid water will form planetary seas and oceans and affect vegetation. Water is increased by evaporation from lakes and by completing special projects. The water tooltip provides further information. So speaking of... So import greenhouse gases. Crash ice asteroids on Mars' surface to improve the water levels of the planet. Interesting. Okay, so this is going to mean that I know exactly how I'm going to set this up. So we'll water extract here. We're going to prioritize our metal extraction just shortly after. So metal is going to give me access to machine parts. Machine parts will allow me to build more wind turbines, and they're also going to allow me to start crashing ice onto the Martian surface. Okay, now this guy's got some work to do. So these are all queued up. Now my next priority is I need to start extracting fuel. yes, we should probably build a signal tower. One for the scanning, but also two because it will help me identify storms coming in. So I'll build one for now, basically beside the drone tower. Next up. Alright. So what I want to do here, I actually want to build... Gotta be careful that I don't overlap. And actually, I probably should have thought about this a little bit better. I do want to have these things hooked up to the grid. But I also want to turn on a valve. Oh, oxygen. No, this has just ruined any kind of path that I had in mind. Oh well. It's getting a little crowded here, so I think I'm gonna have to make a bit of an offshoot. It'd be nice if they could prioritize this little outcrop, but I'm sure they'll do that on their own.
Research complete. Anomaly analyzed. Milestone achieved.
Okay, so we got our low G high rise, that's good news. I won't turn down a polymer factory. So, resolving the obvious problems with water pressure in low G environments will allow for more complex hydrosynthetic procedures to be done on site on Mars. And then engineers and geologists have +10 performance when working their specialty. Geologists have a saying, rocks remember. Neil Armstrong. Now, the evaporator boost is a pretty big one for me.
Sector scanned.
So I want this one to get the priority in terms of
Breakthrough discovered.
resilient vegetation, halves the water and temperature requirements of grass, bushes, trees, and open farm crops. This is a pretty big one. So the leaves and light are one, Albert Einstein. Okay. So far, so good. So the H4 water extraction is a slightly lower priority now. And this is just because we're going to get some improvements to our moisture evaporators before too long. think we are ready to put these things online, and that's partly just to be a nice little test of my my grid. We're actually right at the edge.
We've just confirmed the location of a metal-rich deposit. A drilling accident turned to our advantage.
We lost a drilling probe while trying to analyze this anomaly. The signal was suddenly lost, and we got the tingling feeling that we would get lucky with the second one. The operators were extra careful, and the second insertion revealed a vast network of underground cavities beneath the hard rock plate. On top of that, we managed to get in contact with the first probe, which had fallen through in another section of the crust faults. We used the two probes as triangulation points for telemetry and pinpointed the location of the deposit. Where's my little guy? Okay, so we've got 10 working right now. Looks like we're still above our demand. But when the dome comes online, the dome is going to want 15, and the extractor is probably going to want 5. Yeah. So we are going to need to put another battery down.
Anomaly analyzed.
There's more to the barren environs of the Red Planet than meets the eye. A veritable treasure trove of undiscovered knowledge and wonder, so long as you know where to look.
Even the tiniest, simple-looking rock can contain the answers to mysteries which perplex the human mind for generations. Sometimes it takes us just a simple discovery to assure us of the vastness of the universe, an encouragement to make us look beyond the boundaries of our existence and into the future. The following texts have been revealed on the research screen: Earth, Mars Initiative, and fuel compression. So I don't think I want either of those quite... Oh, actually, I do want that. So this is a pretty important one. 2 planets, 1 human race, sharing knowledge and coexisting with the solar system. So this is going to improve my ability to get research, so that's a pretty high priority now. New terraforming special projects are available on the planetary view. They are marked in green. Completing them will advance our terraforming efforts. Send a rocket on an expedition to complete the terraforming special project. We're not quite ready for that, but good to know we have the option.
Research complete. Anomaly analyzed.
Okay, this is a big deal for us, because for now this is going to be our only source of water. Alright, soil adaptation seems like a pretty high priority right now. It's actually a higher priority than low G hydrosynthesis. So getting some nice bonus for the Explorer that we bought is definitely paying off. Don't have a whole lot for my dozer at the moment. That might change. Maybe I'll want to get rid of this mountain or something. Yes, I know it's not flat. That's why I want to turn it to flat.
Research complete. Anomaly analyzed.
Oh, I see.
Sector scanned.
Gotcha. Okay, Earth-Mars initiative is done, so we're now getting a bonus to research. That's pretty important. And now we'll go for our engineers and geologists.
Breakthrough discovered.
Ancient terraforming device instantly gained 20% in all terraforming parameters. Is such a thing even possible? Yes, it is. Giorgio Tuscalos. This might actually be a really smart one for me to research. Close, we're not quite there. But a big 20% boost is something that will bring me very close to achieving some of my goals. I think my RC Explorer is on its way back home. This of course means that all the low-hanging fruit is gone, but that's fine. What we're waiting on right now, again, I just need to wait for one of my ships to head up. I don't know if we'll be quite ready to start the colony or not. Food's gonna be a problem, but we'll think about that when the time comes. I am tempted to try the hydroponic farm, but I really feel like the proper farm is the better option. I just don't think the hydroponic farm generates enough for it to be worthwhile. So in terms of flattening, it'd have to be something like this, but we'll wait for the ships to go up.
Research complete. Anomaly analyzed.
Okay, well that gives me some important information.
Milestone achieved.
Okay. Moving along, the wind turbine upgrade would be a priority because I definitely want to get those down, but this is different from building them. Mind you, it is my last cheap technology. So let's go for it. And I think I'm gonna wait to see what our next robotics tech is gonna be. Okay, so what are they short on? They need oxygen. Apparently we're not giving them enough. That doesn't seem right. Also, I want to close it off here. Alright, so what do they need? The total demand is 1, total production is nothing because they don't have power, right? So I think that's given me some unrealistic ideas in terms of what my demand is. I think I need to put another batch of solar panels down.
Sector scanned.
And of course this is the dilemma. I'm already really reliant on solar on a place where I know I've got dust storms. I also want to build a little bit of redundancy for my oxygen tanks. Okay. So first things first, we definitely want apartments. Now, should actually start thinking, so I do still want to go for the first child, so it's going to be a nursery, a playground, and an infirmary. We'll also give mommy and daddy something to think about while they're planning on having kids. Next up, I don't want to skimp on my amenities this time, so we'll definitely go full for a grocer. I think I will build a casino again. In fact, what I'm going to do here instead, put the grocer at the tip of where the next passage would be. And then I think I need a small space bar. That's just because of what the is that right? I don't remember what the maybe I can get this through Steam. No, I can't. No, it's factory workers that prefer it. Alright, I think we'll just keep this as is for now. Oh, that's right, I was gonna think about building a farming dome again. Would make a lot of sense. So if I build a farming dome, it should probably be... I don't think I could fit it here. Yeah, you know what? Let's kill that grocer for now. I think I really do want to get rid of this mountain now that I think of it. Because there are a lot of opportunities here. Silly, we didn't even actually build anything here yet. Okay. mildly curious to see how this is going to turn out. Okay, so we're on a small energy deficit in the current state. Okay, this guy is ready to launch, so we'll send them off.
Research complete. Milestone achieved.
We should probably build a landing pad. Okay, I think we're still gonna wait just because I know there's some more 1000.1s. So one thing that's gonna worry me a little bit is our access to food for the next little while.
Sector scanned. Anomaly found.
Okay, gives me a little something for my explorer to take care of. So the plan here, I want to make sure I have enough amenities. That's going to mean putting down a grocer. Oh, you know what I can also do now? I can see how this passage would work. Yeah, so that's a big old waste of time.
Resources are low.
So yeah, we have some outside
Anomaly
chances.
analyzed.
I'm slightly curious. Yeah, uneven terrain, so I think we're going to need to do something about. This shouldn't be uneven.
There's more to the barren environs of the Red Planet than meets the eye. A veritable treasure trove of undiscovered knowledge and wonder. So long as you know where to look.
Okay, so low-G fungi just saved us. In fact, I'm willing to cancel
No
all of
active
these.
research.
So, where are you? New building fungal farm, an outdome building that produces food. All fungi are edible, some fungi are only edible once. Terry Pratchett. So, moving on, we can worry about robotics next. Then our low-G turbines and sensor towers are no longer requiring power. Maintenance is fairly important. And then we'll have a group of botanists. Oh, you know what? Can't do that. I need to make sure that my geologists are taken care of first. forgot our rocket's back, so now the question is, I think I'm gonna risk this. Let's just be very clear on what we need. So no alcoholics, no gamblers. I'm okay with whiners. I think I'm okay with cowards. I'm going to manually filter these anyway, so that's not as big of a problem. Okay, so non-specialists, geologists, botanists, medics. Preferably youth and adults. So what do we get? Oh, and you know what? I don't even need to worry about botanists on this first batch. Okay, so I want to prioritize the specialist jobs, it looks like. So social, dining, gaming will all be priorities. He's geologist though, so. Okay, so now let's start kicking out some people with negative features. So got one and one male, 2 male, 3 male, so I need 3 females. Okay. Oh, we're evened out. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Almost a perfect balance. So let's see if I could get rid of any of the men. Can I exchange the party animal? I can. Okay. So I want to make sure that I have exercise, social, dining. Oops. It's really just a diner I need to worry about right now. So for now, I'm going to settle for a regular grocer. I'll put down a diner. to satisfy the exercise. Put down a pond and a small garden. So this will still give us room for another apartment building, as well as passages for additional domes. Okay, so I'm a little curious now if I want to flatten. That counts as flat, huh? Lambda Industries' Deep Space Telescope is performing as planned. What isn't performing well is the data analysis. The amount of information the telescope is sending towards Earth is mind-boggling, and they have issues processing all of it. Lambda Industries is officially extending a request to help with some of the data analysis research at the Analyze Space Telescope data tech to continue. I hope that's right. So it turns out we're low on metal, and I don't actually have a good way of getting any more. I should have thought about bringing transport in. Also, I have a feeling that's going to be a problem. So I'm going to want this fellow to head up pretty soon. And this is because unless I can fit a transport. Holy smokes, I can fit a transport. Okay, well, it's not the most elegant solution, but it's going to keep me in metal, so I'm happy about it.
Dust storm approaching.
This is gonna be awkward. A dust storm is set to hit the colony soon. It will cause damage to pipes and cables and will also place a serious strain on all buildings, pushing them towards needing maintenance sooner than usual. Stocking up on power, water, and oxygen in batteries and tanks is a wise precaution. Disabling non-vital buildings that consume these resources prior to and during a dust storm will help get by on the available reserves. The following buildings do not function during dust storms: Moxies, moisture evaporators, solar panels, outside domes. So, first of all our water towers are full. So that's good. Non-essential services, concrete extraction. Well, I think I'm going to ride this out as well as I can.
Sector scanned.
This is going to be a particularly difficult time for this to arrive, to be completely honest. So I have 119 hours. The dust storm can't last more than 2 days, so I'm actually going to wait. This is mostly because we're not ready tech-wise. Okay, let's see how long this lasts. Nope. Okay, 3 days, almost. This will give me a chance to collect some metal while we wait.
Resources are low.
By the way, I apologize for suddenly going quite quiet. It's a small distraction just offside, so... And a lot of this has just been about waiting for the colony to be ready to go. So we're riding the Stirling generators kind of hard here. Although I don't need to. This is because there's no consequences if we run out of power. So the next problem is that we're really not very well suited for food production right now. But that will be sort of that'll be the next priority. I think I should be able to import my way through the founder stage at least. Obviously having the gluttons in the colony won't help, but it allowed me to have some other things that are helpful, so I'm making do with what I've got.
Resources are low.
Okay, that's not surprising about the electricity. The colony might go down. That's going to be important information if it does. Okay, yeah, we ran out of power. Now we did keep services still running, so that's... I think if we were to tighten our belts a little bit in terms of what our projects were, I think we'd be able to get through that. We still have a day left on this. suppose I can get my transport to pass the time. Okay. So Russia is close to the first human on Mars. With the early phase of our mission showing relative stability and gaining in popularity back on Earth, our sponsor feels that we're in a good position to push forward a training program aimed at attracting the best applicants that Earth has to offer. Best of the best, as the program is being called, wants your input on what specialization field they should concentrate on for their recruitment efforts. So geologists or botanists are probably my biggest priorities right now. Qualified geologists will be vital for resource extraction early on, or we need botanists to secure the food production. I'm actually going to go for the botanists. This is because I'd really like to try and do a farming colony. Or not colony, farming building. So I am slightly curious if Russia is going to beat me, because we have 21 hours before we can land. That's going to be sad if it does. But it was the right call, because obviously we would not have a good time with this powered down dome. There is an argument for another battery, but I don't quite have the polymers for it, so we'll work with what we've got for now. Okay, so I'm getting a little of the uneven terrain sass, but it looks like this is roughly where it needs to be. I am surprised that these drones... Uh-oh. Oh right, it's because the drone commander's down. That's fine. So this would be obviously very bad if this was the real colony, because we're losing all of our...
Meteor shower incoming.
The region is about to experience a meteor storm. Buildings directly hit by meteors will be in need of repairs in order to function again. All pipes and cables will get destroyed. Rovers hit by meteors will also need repairs, while drones might become irreversibly damaged. Meteor storms cannot be avoided, but some good practices may minimize the damage potential, such as not clustering vital buildings next to each other, pipe and cable redundancy, and researching the tech for MDS lasers from the physics field. Okay. I see. Ah, they completed the milestone. Okay, well. We need to get this thing up and running before. That is such a shame that that didn't turn out. Is this up and running? They are, but we need the oxygen. So I gotta be careful about the time that it's taking. So it was a rocky start, but we're ready to go. We'll say the drone hub's a high priority. Colony. Moxie. Basically just making sure that the infrastructure gets priority. So yeah, that dust storm was a little unfortunate just in terms of the milestone, but I feel like we're in a slightly better position.
Full of hope and determination, the first founders have set foot on the Red Planet.
The next 10 sols will be full of difficulties and dangers, but also with great promises and opportunities. It is now to us to prove that Mars can be a doorway to greater riches and the future of human civilization. Even the most epic adventures can begin with a single step. Arrival of additional colonists is temporarily suspended until the colony proves able to sustain human life. Your foundry colonists must survive for 10 sols before additional people can arrive. So, and we know that if we get a baby, we'll be ahead of the game. So, on that note, I think I'm actually going to wait a minute. Oh, 20 food and service buildings. That makes a lot more sense.
New colonists have arrived.
And on that note, I think we're going to call it for today. Wanted to take a minute to say thank you very much to everybody for watching. If there's anything that you would like me to do differently for these videos or anything you'd specifically like me to talk about, happy to do so. I feel like the last couple of ones I've been a little more quiet, but part of that is also just the circumstances under which I've been recording these. It's been a little difficult for me to get this done on time, and so I've been trying to record these when I can. But if I can start doing them on the weekends again, I'll be a little bit more chatty. I'd love to talk about some of the things that are going on, but whether you're watching this just to go to sleep, or if you're just want to hear something a little more relaxing, have something on while you're working, I hope you're well. If things aren't going as well as they can, just remember, our colony didn't turn out so well. We're able to pull something out of the evening. So obviously a video game is very different from what's going on in your life, but I hope things pick up. I hope things stay good if they are good. And we'll see you next week. Maybe hopefully with some terraforming. Have a wonderful day.